Hi everyone, it's Bev DeBono, and I have a great page layout for today. And if it looks familiar to you, that's because it's on the front of our Creative Memories catalog. And it was on the Creative Memories blog. I believe it was originally designed by Melissa, and but I do have a quick workaround for it, and I think we'll have some fun with it. Okay, so our catalog is really a resource for you. And the collection that I'm using for this is called Tropic Time. And you can see the whole collection here. And it is on page 20 of our catalog. So there is a glare tonight. I'm going to try to adjust that. So the catalog is a reference guide for you. And every time there's a new collection that comes out, you can print it up from your advisor and print up what the collections are, these wonderful fly sheets that we have, and place them in the front of your catalog. And that way you'll stay up to date. Okay, so to make our beautiful sunshine, what we're going to need is our jumbo circle template with your blades. And we're going to need a couple pieces of paper. First, we're going to need an outer base and an inner base. Now, the reason we're doing this is because this technique of having this outer frame, a very small, thin frame, is one that is very popular in scrapbooking right now, and it really frames your page in your books. And this is could be a title page or a very special page. So it's one that you might want to add a little frame. But we're going to be doing a technique with this called hollowing it out. We're going to hollow it out so that, and I'm flipping it over so that you could see, so that we're not wasting all the paper because we're putting another layer on top of that. Okay, so we're going to need an outer base, which I'm using cardstock, and an inner base, which is a tonal pattern. Then you need a color for your actual sun. And you need some coordinating scraps. And we're going to need about 7 of these. And they need to measure 2 inches by 3 inches, but we'll be cutting these all together. Okay, so let's get started. Of course, you're going to need your 12-inch trimmer. And we are going to need a pencil tonight, believe it or not. Okay, so let's get started with our 12-inch trimmer. We're going to take our base, our outer base, and that's the backing that we're going to make our frame from. And I'm going to cut a 1-inch hollow frame out of this so that we're not wasting all the paper and our albums are not so thick. Now, to make a 1-inch hollow frame, it is the easiest frame to make with this trimmer. And that is because the trimmer blade will cut exactly 1 inch. And if you look at your trimmer on the side here, this is called the housing unit. That's where your blade is kept. And when you change your blades, you just take a blade out and insert another blade. So this is our housing unit on our trimmer. This little white line is exactly where the blade cuts. And from the white line to the top of the housing measures 1 inch. And from the white line to the bottom of the housing, it measures 1 inch. So it's very easy to make a 1-inch hollow frame with this, just using your tool itself. So let's get started. And what we're going to do is we're going to put our paper on our trimmer all the way to the top of the trimmer. And we're not cutting all the way through. We are going to put our housing unit, okay, we're sliding our housing unit so that the top of the housing meets the top of the paper. Okay, so usually we start all the way to the top. We're not going to do that this time. We're going to start where the housing unit, the top of the housing meets the top of the paper. And we're going to end it when the bottom of the housing meets the bottom of the paper. So we are not cutting all the way through. We're going to have a little stop there. Now, some people find it very beneficial to get these little binder clips and to put little binder clips so that you're creating a little gate so that your housing unit doesn't go past the gate. So it's like a security fence. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide my housing unit up to where the top of my paper starts. And I'm going to put a binder clip. You see, these are railings here, these little aluminum railings. I'm going to put a binder clip right at the top of where my paper starts. And I'm going to put a binder clip at the bottom where my paper ends. Okay, so a binder clip where my paper ends and a binder clip where my paper starts. And this will create a security gate here so that we're not cutting all the way through. Now, if you don't have binder clips, no worries. We're still going to do it just by pushing down and measuring. Okay, so we're going to start at the top, housing, top of the housing, top of the paper, press down and come down to where the bottom of the housing comes to the bottom of the paper. Do not cut all the way through. Lift up your arm. And now you see we have a little, we're creating the beginning of the frame. Turn your paper to the left. Put it at the 1-inch mark again. Top of the housing, top of the paper. Press down, bottom of the housing, bottom of the paper. Okay, lift your arm. Now you see we're starting to make a little octopus here. Turn to the left. 1-inch mark again. Top of the housing, top of the paper, bottom of the housing, bottom of the paper. Lift up, turn to the left again, and top of the housing, top of the paper, bottom of the housing, bottom of the paper. Okay, and now you have successfully made a 1-inch hollow frame. And that is going to become the base on which we're going to put our inner base for this layout. And with this paper that you've just cut out from the middle, you can use for additional mats or you can use for the other side to finish up your double page spread. Okay, so our inner base, we're going to cut, and I'm just using a tonal paper here. Again, this is from the Tropic Time paper pack. And I'm going to cut this to 11.5 by 11.5 square. All right, so remove our binder clips. And now we're going to cut all the way through, but only on 2 edges. So let's insert our paper at the 1/2-inch mark. And the reason I'm using the 1/2-inch mark on the right-hand side is because I have a lot more area to hold on to with my hand when I'm cutting the paper. If I had my paper at the 1/2-inch mark on this side and I am putting my arm down here, I don't have a lot to hold on to, and then I'm going off the trimmer edge here. So always try to put your paper where you have the most area to cover with your hand so that your paper doesn't move. Okay, so I'm lining it up at the 1/2-inch mark, which is the first line to the right of the blade. And we're cutting all the way through. You have 1/2 inch, turn to the left, line it up at the 1/2-inch mark again, and we're cutting all the way through. Only 2 sides are we cutting? And we now have an 11.5 by 11.5. And let's go ahead and attach this to our base. And then this way, our base is ready for our sunshine. And remember, you've got a hollow frame here. We're so used to putting tape in the middle of our paper that when we don't have anything here, don't put any tape behind it because it's not going anywhere. And I'm lining it up right in the middle. And when you're using your 13 by 13 mat, you can see exactly where I'm coming in 1/4 of an inch in from all sides. And that now becomes our base. Now, I want to show you a really quick way to make this sunshine. And you want the paper that you're making your sunshine with. And you know, I like to use my tools for my measurements. So what I'm going to do is take the jumbo circle and I'm going to put my paper that I'm making my sunshine with right on my 13 by 13 mat. And now I'm going to inch my, my circle. I'm going to look at my 13 by 13 mat. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the 5-inch mark at the top. And if you want, you can put a little line, the 5-inch mark at the top. And on the left-hand side, put a 5-inch mark on the left-hand side. And what we want to do now is line up our jumbo circle template so that the template itself just starts at the 5-inch mark at the top and the 5-inch mark on the left-hand side. Okay, so I'm going to leave it here so you can take a look real quick. 5-inch mark at the top and the 5-inch mark on the left-hand side. That's where you're going to line up your template. Okay, so we're not wasting as much paper. Red blade on the outside. Now be careful because this template now is off your mat. So it's kind of not secure here. And it's jiggling a little bit around. Okay, so if you feel confident cutting with it like that, you can go ahead and cut with your red blade on the outside of the template. If you want to have it more secure and on the mat, which I prefer to do, move your paper down because you've already marked your 5-inch marks where you're going to be lining up your jumbo circle template. Okay, so I just moved my paper down a little bit. So now my template has a flat surface to lean on here. And I'm lining it up again because I made a little pencil mark at the 5-inch mark at the top and on the left-hand side. And I'm doing the same thing. I'm just lining up my template with that. But I feel that this way I have a more secure hold on my template and it's not going off my mat. Okay, and red blade on the outside. Red blade on the outside track. There you go. There's your half sun. And now let's go ahead and tape that with the repositionable tape. And let's not put as much tape on the round side because we're going to be nestling the sun rays under that. Okay, so you have a perfect flat edge top and bottom, and that is going to go in your inner base. Just like that. Okay, so leave your outer frame. and put it in your inner, on your inner base. Line it up at the top and the left along your inner base. So now that you have that, we're going to make our sun rays. And this is fun because you can use any coordinating paper. And I just selected a bunch of scraps that I had from this collection. And I'm going to cut 7 2-inch by 3-inch pieces. Okay, 2-inch by 3-inch pieces. You need 7 of them. Okay, so I already have some that are measured 2 inches. You need 2-inch by 3-inch. And if you can use the other side of them, that's even better. 2-inch by 3-inch pieces. And you need 7 of them. So whatever scraps you have, 2 inches and then 3 inches. Whatever scraps you have will be fun to work with. See, I'm kind of just placing them just around my sun, just so I can see like what they're gonna look like, my scraps. This is how you build your pattern. And I need a couple more colors. 2 inches by 3 inches. Okay. So I'm just playing with my patterns right here so I can see what colors I have that I like. You need 7 altogether. So let's see, I need a blue. I don't have a blue. Two inches by 3 inches, you need 7 of them. And your sunshines can look different each time. I think that I need another blue one. Okay, and once you have your pieces kind of lined up, now we're going to need to make our points on our sun. The fastest way to do this, okay, so 2 inches by 3 inches, I'm going to put that here, you need 7 of them. The fastest way to make our points is to take your piece, it's 2 inches by 3 inches, put it on your 13 by 13 mat so that it's 2 inches across and 3 inches high. Let me take a color you can see better. Here we go. And I'm going to mark it right in half at the 1-inch mark. So it's 2 inches wide. I'm going to put a little mark at the 1-inch mark. Okay, so I'm putting a little pencil mark at the 1-inch mark on the 2-inch side. The 1-inch mark on the 2-inch side. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that 1-inch mark and I'm going to put that 1-inch mark on my cut line. And then I'm going to, so I'm going to have my piece like this. My 1-inch mark is at my cut line. And then I'm going to angle it so that the top is at my cut line. And I'm going to cut that down. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my finger on that little pencil mark, the 1-inch. And now I'm going to take my other finger and I'm just going to slide over the top. and put that at the cut line. So now I have the 1-inch pencil mark at the cut line and then the 3-inch mark at the cut line. And I'm going to cut that. And you have a little sun ray. You have these 2 pieces left over, which you could do some fun things with. Don't worry, we have 7 more to do, so we'll do it again. So let's take another one, the 2-inch mark. We could even do it on your trimmer if you like. You can line it up and just place it on the 2-inch line here. Make a pencil mark at the 1-inch line. Slide it over so that your 1-inch pencil mark is at the bottom cut line. Move the top right to be on the cut line. So you've made a little diamond and you're going to cut that. Leave the bottom at the cut line and slowly glide your finger over so that the top left is now on your cut line. And you're ready to cut your sun ray. You see how precise this trimmer is? You can get, if you line it up right on the cut line, you can get such precise points and cuts on this trimmer. And we'll keep doing that until we have them all cut. And then we're just going to nestle. We're going to nestle them under our sun. Okay, so your pencil mark at the bottom cut point, and then your top points at your top cut lines. And go ahead and continue to cut your pieces. So just mark at 1 inch. The 1-inch pencil mark is at your bottom cut line. Top right at your top cut line. Keep your pencil mark, glide it over. Make sure they're on your cut lines so that you have a precise point. So the cut line is the dotted line that's on your gray part of your mat, on your trimmer. Now, if you get to the point where you can't see the cut lines, then that means that you need to rotate your mat. And the number that's at the top by Creative Memories, the number on your gray mat, that is the cut line that this trimmer is currently cutting on. Once I can't read the dotted lines by that number, then I have to go to the number that's on the bottom. I insert my finger in here, lift up the mat strip, turn it around so that the next number is on the top. When I can no longer read that one, I do the same thing, turn it over. I go to number 3. And when I can no longer read number 3, I turn it over and go to number 4. Okay, so these are all good for about 500 to 600 cuts. All of these gray edges on your mat. And a lot of times I find that it's really the mat you have to replace and not as much for the blades. All right, and we're going to continue to cut these until we have all 7 of them cut right in the half at that 1-inch pencil mark. And once we're done, then what we're going to do is use our repositionable tape and our silicone mat so that we can get to our very points. So this was the fast version of the blog, and definitely a workaround with it. And there you go. That's as hard as it gets. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape it down. Now you can use your silicone mat. If you don't have a silicone mat, then I use the backings that come off our sticker sheets. Once you've used your sticker sheets, the one side that's the waxy side, that's the side that I will use with my repositionable tape. And I'm going to just take one of my sun rays and I'm going to use my repositionable tape on either my wax paper or parchment paper or my blue silicone mat. With the repositionable tape, I can get all the way to the points of the sun ray. And that way the points won't be lifting up when I put them in my, slide it into my album. And now with your multi-purpose tool, you just gently lift up the bottom of your sun ray and nestle in your sun ray underneath the sunshine itself. And then you continue to do this all the way around. And it's just a really fun, pretty title page or one for very special photos. And just nestle all of your sun rays into there underneath the sunshine itself. Now, if you don't want the sun rays as large, you can certainly put them in, slide them in a little bit more. And you can arrange your spacing on them. And so right now, I like the way that looks. And once you're done, then you can go ahead and decorate. I'm going to add a little bit of fun surfboards. This is all from Tropic Time. And the exact same method that we used to make our hollow frame. I'm going to put the little turtle here. The title, these are great. This is a great spot to put those little titles that come with your albums. I mean, with your title mats. And so I have a mat here from the pack that I'd like to use, but I don't want to cover it. It looks a little too big and I wanted to put a photo there. So the exact same method that we use, the 1-inch hollow frame to cut the outside of that mat, you can use to cut these mats. And so that you can use both the title itself, and I can also now use that to frame my picture. And then I might want to just cut down the words here on this. So now what I've done is I've extended the use of the mat that I had. So now the mat wasn't so big. And I probably would tape that down just like that. And you can also add a few more other pictures, smaller pictures along the way. If you wanted, you could put 2 pictures here, and just by slanting your mats. So that is our technique for today. This one this was another mat that I used for the title. There are some really nice words on some of the mats in the mat packs. And they're big enough so that they make a really nice title. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed today's technique. Please like my YouTube channel. It's called Bev DeBono Designs and subscribe to it. I usually post a video every week and they're a lot of fun. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.